Hi, everyone. This is Shannon Port from Art of the Feminine, and I welcome you to the Leo full moon total lunar eclipse video that we'll be doing today. Um, the, ti- the, the title of our podcast today is Healing the Emotional Body. And we are going to be talking about the archetypal energies of this total lunar eclipse that's happening in Leo. It's the last of the eclipses happening on the Leo and Aquarius axis, and it's a big one. It's a powerful one. It's really connected to the next 2 years of archetypal energy and the North Node being in Cancer now. And so I would like to just take a moment and ask if you can hear me. Um, oh, it's nice to see everyone. If you can hear me, please let me know. All right. So nobody has, yes. All right. Thank you so much. Oh, it's so good to see you guys coming on. So I would like to just take a moment and welcome the new subscribers. I'm so happy that we're able to connect. And I wanted to say that there have been a few people emailing me that they aren't getting the notifications when we do the live stream. And so you have to click on the icon, the bell, and then you will be notified when we go live, and you can join us. And you'll also be just notified that we have a new video. We are doing them just about once a week, not always, but as often as I can get here, I'm here. And then also, before we get started, I want to say that there's a newsletter, Akashic Insight newsletter, that is a supplement to this video. So we are going to talk about the archetypal energy of the emotional body. It's huge. It's what's really, really being highlighted at this total lunar eclipse, super blood moon, wolf moon that's happening. And in the Akashic Insight newsletter, which I wanted to get up today, but it's going to be out Monday, I'll be talking a lot about the emotional body and the emotional body healing that's happening in the collective psyche of humanity at this time. It's perhaps the greatest challenge that we have right now is the emotional body on the planet, in humanity, as well as just in the whole psychomagnetic field that we are living in. And so you can find that newsletter at artofthefeminine.com. I'll also probably come back and post a link to it. And that newsletter will have the information I promised to tell you about the winter mentoring that I haven't started yet, but there's going to be a 3-month mentoring program. I do it every quarter. And so if you're interested in the archetypes and the archetypal energy and all the divine feminine wisdom, which is just powerful and profound, and you'd like to work with me for 3 months, that information will also be in that newsletter. And so I want to give you an idea of the direction that this video will take. I'm going to just give you an idea of where we'll go and how we'll break it down. First, I'm going to do a little bit of reading of some writing I did for the video. It's pretty quick, but it just kind of sums up the gist of what we'll be talking about. And then we're going to jump right into the aspects of what's actually happening, the archetypal dance that's happening at the lunar eclipse. And then we will get into and then I'm going to bring in some solutions and some meditations. One for sure I have sitting right here that can really, really help with balancing and harmonizing the emotional body. And then if we have time, I have a couple other things, but that's the general direction that we'll go in. And so, oh, I'm really excited to be here. I did so much writing. I had about 100 pages and I had to really break it down. Hi. And Happy New Year again, if I haven't seen you since the new year. All right, I'm going to close the chat box and I will check back in with it in just a moment. And so we have a little bit of new snow here, which makes it really pretty outside. And it's a nice time of year. Okay, so here's what I'm gonna break into first. Eclipses are portals. They open the quantum field of consciousness. This full blood supermoon in Leo is connected to the emotional body of humanity, as well as the earth. Leo represents the emotions and the emotional body. It represents the desire force. It's the Hebrew letter Tet, which represents the fire force. It represents the Kundalini Shakti power, and so therefore, it is of course related to our emotions because our emotions are they are our fire, and they can burn us or they can lift us up. Fire is very, very powerful, as we know. So Leo in the esoteric wisdom is Tet. It represents the snake, the Kundalini Shakti power. Um, and so the moon, the eclipse is happening in Leo, but the moon, it's a total lunar eclipse, represents the subconscious mind. And so we have the emotional body and the subconscious mind. We're talking a lot of feminine energy. Um, and so we have the north node in Cancer right now. So I talked about this in the video, the return of the cosmic mother. We're dealing with the underbelly, we're dealing with the body of pain, we're dealing with the deep, deep emotions that are we have different layers under there. There's the substratum and the layers of emotions and the different octaves of emotions. All of this is going to be stirred and activated. Oh my gosh, especially with the Uranus squaring the moon and the sun. So with the North Node in Cancer at the time, the subconscious mind is front and center. It is the focus of the collective psyche. And is calling forth the great mother deep. And so deep, deep, deep in our subconscious mind is our divine mother that lives within us. She's our power. She's our inner God force. And so I did some writing on the Facebook page, Art of the Feminine, yesterday about the body as a temple. And if I have time, maybe I'll look it up and read it. But it talks about that deep within us is this force, the subconscious mind. That's the lunar aspect. This portal or Stargate, and this is really cool. This just kind of came in this morning. This portal or Stargate is opening 0 point field of no time. Now, I did a video on no time and 0 point field, but so if you want to know more about it, but what happens at the eclipse is that there's a moment where everything just pauses on the archetypal level. It pauses within us, and we open up the entire field of consciousness within our microcosm as well as in the collective. And so it's a powerful, powerful time. It can be a very sweet activation. It can give you access to energy, realizations, profound inspiration that you don't get necessarily every day. It's quite an event. And so I encourage you to look at where the house that the eclipses are falling in for you and just see if how it's touching any of your planets, and really find out what part of your life was touched by the Leo and Aquarius axis, which this is the very last eclipse in that axis. And so this will be leaving us with a gift, a profound realization. Now, here's where it gets really cool. So the portal or Stargate is opening a 0 point field of no time. Uranus, the Fool in the archetypes, key 0, is squaring the moon in Leo. The moon in Leo is at 0 degrees, and the sun in Aquarius at 0 degrees. So now 0 degrees of any sign is a highly initiative point in for that sign. It's a time of initiation. It's a time of even more of a download of the archetypal and psychological energy of that sign. So we have the Fool, which is Uranus. Uranus is going to be at 28 degrees of Aries in a fire sign, squaring, in a fire sign, squaring the moon. So really giving it a kick, because that square really activates it and causes the tension. And then the moon itself is at 0 degrees and the sun is at 0 degrees. So here we have triple zeros. So we have a 000 archetype, and 0 represents the cosmic womb of creation. And so what I want to say about this, and I just realized this. I think it was last night I wrote this. It was just pouring in. I was like, wow. It's really it's rare that we bring in a triple zero archetype, but zero represents the womb, and it represents 0 point, which is it's the pause between the in breath and the out breath. It's where we are at in our cosmic cycle of evolution. We are actually at the 0 point field, waiting for the transformation. We're seeing the transformation happening right now, but it's really a special time. So this is a time that we are going to be really invited to look inward and meditate and be still. So find out what time the eclipse is happening for you. I know here on the East Coast, it's quite early in the morning. It's happening on January 20th here in the East Coast. In Europe, it will be, and the rest of the world, it will be January 21st. So it will be the next morning. I believe it's 12:11 or 12:15 a.m. that it's happening. If you can, meditate. If you can't, if you're going to be in bed, if it's going to be too late, tune in before, do a little bit of writing, and really think about what you want to access in this field, because there's a lot of really juicy aspects happening at the eclipse, which makes it even more sweet. There's also all planets. I think all planets are still direct. It's a time of forward momentum. It's emissive. This is a time of reaching out to set our future. We are, even though it's a lunar eclipse and it kind of packs a punch and goes deep into the underworld, we're also bringing up what we need to be seen in that light of alchemy, and then um, projecting a new vision into the world. And we will talk about projection, because Leo's projection, the Empress and Venus are projection, and that is what this is all about, projecting a new reality. So I had one more thing that I jotted down. Okay, emotional body power. And I'm writing this is part of the newsletter. This will be in the newsletter. I'm writing about the Trinity consciousness of wisdom, power, and love, which is the true balance of supercharged, powerful emotions. Wisdom, power, and love, which are the Trinity of divine light that exists within us when we are activated. The emotional body creates our world. We are allowed to feel whatever comes up. But we have to be accountable for what we create. There's no way around that. And I thought there was something else, but I'm not sure if this is what I wanted to read. So that's okay. Oh, I think it's right here. No, it looks like it's this. So I might have taken that out. So instead, we'll just jump into the emotional body. The emotional body really creates our world, and that's why it's huge. Leo represents the creative force. In the archetypes, it's strength. It's the power of our emotions to create the world around us. I'm going to go ahead and look at the aspects first, and then we'll come back and really have a dialogue about the emotional body. Before I do that, I'm going to just see if there's any questions or comments. I'm going to check in at the chat. What? Okay, that's really funny. Oh, interesting. Okay. Well, we'll talk a little bit about it. The seven serpents. Okay. Trinity womb. Yes. Oh, hi. It's nice to see you. Yeah. The Trinity womb. Exactly. There is. So in other words, in order to have balanced emotions, we have to have this Trinity lit within us. And we're going to talk more about this. We can't just have love. We also have to have wisdom and power. Now, love is the seed of everything. And the higher love, I wrote about this in that post yesterday, is divine love. Divine love is the Trinity. So the ultimate love is divine love, and divine love contains that fully formed prism of wisdom, power, and love. If we have love, but we don't have power, we can love and love and love, but we'll end up dropping into a victim consciousness if we're not able to actualize our if we're not able to be intentional and to create in the world, we have to be able to. A lot of spiritual people and a lot of very empathic people, and I know this, I've had this myself, and I also have Mars retrograde in my chart, in my birth chart. So I had a lot of energy pushing me to go inward and not charge ahead. And so in my life, I had to really, really cultivate the ability to focus and go forward and complete projects. And even though I have tons of creative energy, the power to stand in truth and actualize these things and bring them into manifestation in the world is a very Mars power, and we need Mars. So we need power, wisdom, and love. So let's look at the, well, we are going to return back to that. Let's talk about what's happening at the eclipse. Let's look at what's going on here. We have, first of all, let's talk about the beautiful trine that we have. We're going to have Jupiter and Venus conjunct in Sagittarius. So Jupiter's in its own sign. It's really pumped up and powerful, bringing generosity, spirituality, knowledge, higher knowledge, wisdom, and justice, truth and justice. So Jupiter in the sign of Sagittarius is gorgeous and conjunct Venus. So I believe they'll both be at 15 degrees, also conjunct the great attractor. And so I know about the great attractor because my Mars, which actually I'm thankful to have my Mars in this spot, is conjunct the great attractor. The great attractor is a vortex of I like to think of it as a vortex of, it's like Cancer. When we think of the sign of Cancer, we think of the mother deep because it's a vortex of extremely potent and powerful spiritual energy that is like the archetype for the sign of Cancer, which represents the vortex in the core, in the nucleus of the subconscious mind, the truly divine power that we are. So we have Venus and Jupiter are conjunct the great attractor, trining Mars. Mars is at 13 degrees Aries in its own sign. So we have this beautiful trine of Mars and Venus and Jupiter. And Mars is in Aries, so it's really potent and really noble and lit up and fiery in a good way. Trining Jupiter in its own sign in Sagittarius, right alongside Venus, and that is a really, really beautiful energy. Venus is the Empress. She represents the feeling force and emotions and the ability to create. She represents art and our ability to vision the world through our emotions. This is all leading into the Leo energies, because we need Venus to be able to create and use the feeling force to power our world and to vision our world and to dream our world. So that's a really nice energy. Mars is the tower in the archetypes. And so Mars is actually, in the esoteric wisdom, it's the Holy Spirit. Mars is actually, and on the tree of life, it's right, it's an octave right below Binah, which represents the Holy Spirit and the Divine Mother. So Mars is the firepower of the Divine Mother. Even though once we get into the exoteric wisdom, it becomes really masculine, but it really has, Mars is the Kundalini Shakti force. So Mars and Leo are quite similar. So Mars and Venus in this trine, excellent. So we also have a grand cross, which I thought was worth mentioning because Uranus, 28 degrees Aries, Uranus is the Fool. It's the higher mind. It's revolutionary, but it's also the galactic womb because it represents the pleroma. It's a zero. So Uranus is often, the archetype is often misunderstood, but it's the brilliance and the quintessence, the limitless light that comes from the center of the galaxy. We'll call it the galactic womb. And we have Pallas, Athene, at 26 degrees Libra, wisdom. So here we have Uranus, the mind. This is all mental energies. I wrote down wisdom, mind, subconscious mind, higher mind, and conscious mind. In fact, they're all right there. Mercury is the conscious mind. Mercury is at 25 degrees Capricorn. The north node, which is the lunar node, is at 26 degrees Cancer. Here we have, this is how the archetypes dance. Just look at this. This is a grand cross. It's a cardinal cross because it's in Libra, Aries, Capricorn, and Cancer. and which is creating a great tension of the mind. We've got Mercury, which is the magician. Mercury is our consciousness, it's our conscious mind. Uranus, which is the limitless light, it's the cosmic womb. So, and it's known as the higher cosmic mind. The North Node, the lunar node, which is the moon, which is also the high priestess in the archetypes, which represents the subconscious. And the moon, the North Node, is in Cancer, the sign of the moon, which makes it even that much more potent. And then we have Pallas Athena. Pallas Athena is wisdom and justice. So we have wisdom in this grand square with all the aspects of our mind. So this is about wisdom. This is about activating wisdom, power, and love to heal the emotional body. In order to heal the emotional body, we have to heal our mind and our feelings. And we're going to talk about how they harmonize together. But this Grand Cross, it's written all over it: heal the mind and have mastery over it. But mastery sounds so hard and rigid and like disciplined. It's really about allowing. I'm going to do a sacred union meditation at the end. It's more about allowing, more than working. It's about allowing, which reminds me, I could probably slow down a little bit and allow. The Mercury and Uranus are activating me right now. So I just took a quick check of the chat. All right, we also have Saturn. Oh man, Saturn in 13 degrees Capricorn in a tight square with Mars at 13 degrees Aries. I mean, this is huge. I believe it's exact. I believe they're both 13 degrees. Saturn squaring Mars. So Mars is the tower. Saturn is cosmic consciousness in the archetypes. It's key 21, and it represents cosmic consciousness because it represents the fruit of our journey. What we get after we wake up and take this journey, that's why Saturn is karma, because it means that we get to eat the fruit of what we created. We get to taste it. And so, but on the higher level, it means the completion of our journey. So Mars is squaring Saturn, and that means it's time. It means it's time. And with all the planets moving forward, it really is time. Everyone that I've been talking to has been saying that, oh, the lower astral and higher astral. I want to talk about that. For some reason, I just got all these comments on my phone. So it looks like my phone is getting them quicker. All right. So, yeah, everyone's been saying about 2019 that it feels like things are actually moving now. There's something about 2019 that's bringing in a lot of hope and a lot of forward momentum. This is a time to feel it and to just be who you really are, to just allow yourself to be now and soak it all up and just ride the waves and watch the archetypes dancing and feel them dancing in you. Okay, so next we're going to talk about this trine of Chiron in Pisces. It looks like at 28 degrees, North Node in Cancer at 26 degrees, and Ceres in Scorpio. Ceres is the mother. So this beautiful trine, Chiron is the wounded healer. This beautiful water trine with Chiron, Ceres, and the North Node in Cancer is really about, and I want to talk just a moment about the mother element, what that means. It doesn't just mean women. It means our ability to be the mother of our own soul, to access our inner mother so that we feel cared for, so that we feel like we have someone to talk to, so that we understand that we are not only the inner child, we're also the inner mother. We have so much power buried in the North Node of Cancer. And in the mother deep, we have the ability to transform all of this. It's been so removed from our consciousness. We've been living in a hypnotized dream state, but no longer. There's no more time to live in that state. We're being forced to wake up right now. That's what this eclipse is about. It's the last Leo eclipse. But Ceres rules motherhood, meaning how we care for our children. So that also means how our inner mother cares for us. In trine with the North Node in Cancer, which is the mother, with Chiron, the wounded healer, means it's time. The North Node in Cancer is not going to be It's not going to be light and trivial. It's going to be the real deal. This next 2 years, the astrology is just all about real changes now actualizing on our planet. There's no more wiggle room to get out of it. Changes are here. They may, I mean, they're here right now. So we also have Venus and Jupiter in Sagittarius. Perhaps Venus is at 14. I wrote down 15 in one place and 14 in another, but Venus and Jupiter, 15 degrees Sagittarius, in an exact square with Neptune. So Neptune, another planet in its own sign. I'm sorry, Neptune in Pisces at 14 degrees. Neptune in the archetypes is the hangman. It's surrender. But what it really means is going into the subconscious. There's a lot of focus on the subconscious mind here. Going into the subconscious mind, surrendering and allowing the Mother Deep to send us our true emotions. Healing the emotional body is about receiving the true emotions that exist within us. We have higher emotions and we have lower emotions, and we're going to talk about that in just a moment. But Neptune, the true meaning of the hangman is to go inward to the subconscious mind. That's why it's hanging upside down. It's the underworld. Go past that level of the body of pain into the Mother Deep and receive those divine spheres of emotional energy. I'm seeing bubbles just starting to bubble up from down below, but we have to do it. We have to surrender. That's what this meditation is about. So, Neptune squaring Venus and Jupiter as they are conjunct is just a blessing. It's actually it can create deception and all of those things, and of course we'll see that. But we always talk about the shadow. Let's talk about the positive. The positive is that it really is going to be a time of tension, positive tension to create generosity, spirituality, divine vision, the proper alignment with Venus and the true emotional body, creating a beautiful world, an artistic world that really reflects our divinity, who we really are, not this lower state. We have the animal state and the divine state. We have to combine them so that we have harmony in the world. We can have our differences. We're meant to be different. We're meant to have diversity. We are not meant to blend everybody together and make everybody the same. In fact, creation needs diversity. So it's important that we have our cultures, that we have our beliefs, that we have our different genders, and we have our different explorations of sexuality, that we have our different explorations of light. There's light and dark. There will always be the spectrum. There will always be the darkest of the dark, which could be known as evil, and there will always be the lightest of the light that is so far to the light that it can't manifest. It's just way too far removed. It's escapist. It's off the spectrum. The true merging of the awakening of the human being is when we can access the middle path and blend those two, transmute the dark and bring it into the higher frequency, which is divine love. And it's purely create the creative force of the Divine Mother. So we also have, let's see, Mercury. Okay, so Mercury's at 25 degrees Capricorn, conjunct Pluto. So Pluto's at 21 degrees Capricorn and Mercury is 25 degrees. So Mercury and Pluto are conjunct. So that just actually Pluto being conjunct with Mercury just really amps up that grand cardinal cross of the mind energy. Pluto is giving the mind energy the ability to go deep, the ability to figure it out, to be the Pluto as brutal as it can be, because it will kill you if you need to be annihilated. Pluto will annihilate you, and that's probably what it's going to do. It's going to annihilate some of the energy that's not working anymore, that refuses to look inward and to honor diversity and to honor the collective, that we're all here together and that there's a better way. For sure. So we have Pluto conjunct, we have the magician conjunct. Pluto is judgment. It's the last judgment. That's why Pluto represents the big bad energy of judgment. It will bring you to your knees and make you face what you need to face. Speaking of the emotional body, we have to be accountable for what we put into the world. We all have to heal. We have to go through our pain, our suffering, our traumas. We're going to talk about trauma a bit, but we need to, in the end, we have to buck up and we have to pick ourselves up and nobody can ascend for us. Each one of us has to do it on our own. We can get helpers, we can get mentors, teachers, lovers, friends in the collective, but ultimately we stand alone. On the last judgment, we face nothing other than ourself and our own choices. Nobody is there to save us. At our last judgment, we are accountable for everything. We get to do, life reviews, countless life reviews, and look at how we've used our God energy, what we've done with it. And if we need to go back and redo things, that we do it. But Pluto's where we get that. It's really not about right and wrong. It's about energy. It's about emotional power. And so we also have the sun 0 degrees Aquarius, pretty close to Mercury. Yeah, so Mercury's in there and then opposing Pluto, Mercury, and the sun opposing the moon in Leo. That's a lot of energy for this lunar eclipse. And it's a super moon. The moon is extra close to the earth right now. So that lunar energy, the subconscious mind of the human race is really open and potentially raw at this time. All right, I think that's it. Uranus square. Okay, and Uranus squaring. So all right, let's talk a little bit about the emotional body, and then I wanted to read some lyrics. And if I don't get a chance to do that, I'm going to be doing a little bit more of that in future videos. But I have some beautiful poetry and art that has come in that is just really profound. All right, so let's talk about our emotional body. I'm going to check questions. I want to say this. I'm going to slow down. I knew there was a lot to talk about today, so I knew I'd probably be moving pretty fast, but this is what I wanna say. Um, in between the moon videos, in between the lunar videos of new moons and full moons, I'm gonna start doing Q&A videos where they're a little bit more, where we get to actually hang out and talk. So again, if you are new to the channel, subscribe and we will meet every other week, and where it will be more of a question answer, and we'll just hang out and talk and share energy from all the realizations that we've had. So let me just scan this. Huge movement. Yeah, huge movement. Shannon. Okay, I don't know what. Okay, don't. Wow, okay. All right, these oh, wait, what's that about the astral? Because I was just wrote about the astral. The astral, okay. If you could briefly touch on, I wanted to, okay, the lower astral and the higher astral. Okay, the astral light is the substance of creation. And so and that's actually a video that I want to do coming up, or something we'll talk about more when we have more time. But the astral is the substance of the feminine energy, of the subconscious. We live in a big ocean of subconscious mind. When we go interdimensionally, there's a lower astral. The lower astral is void of, it represents the animal kingdom and the higher Christic kingdom. Now, this doesn't mean good or bad. Of course, we all love animals. This doesn't mean have anything to do with animals not being wonderful, but the animal side of ourself is more connected to and this is connected to Leo, the desire force in terms of, and I think I did some writing on this, in terms of lust, greed, power, inverted sexuality. The lower astral plane is where we want to play with all the way to the demonic, to the tricksters, to the energies of dominating and as dark as you can go. And the darkest of the dark exists in the lower astral plane, but also it's the land. It's kind of the original theater, because it's where It's where the good forces can dress up like the dark forces, and the dark forces can dress up like the good forces. Now, you won't find the highest um beings that are operating in the higher world, probably swimming around down there. But we just because we, in because once you go there, you become a magnet. It's like once you do certain activities, it's connected directly. This is what I want to say. It's connected to the emotional body. The lower astral plane, when we, this is it's coming in now. The lower astral plane responds to our negative emotions. So therefore, when we have dark emotions over and over and over, we attract into our field negative astral entities. Those entities are nothing more than thought forms, but they're astral thought forms. The lower astral thought forms are kind of anti-life. They feed off other people. Now, in this world, in this third density, we are operating as the lower astral. We are in an environment where we feed off each other in ways that we don't even want to talk about here right now, because we have so many problems with um, humans not honoring humans, just using each other for the flesh and for power, money, greed, sex, money, power, the three things that eventually keep us down there. Not that any of those things are bad. None of those things are bad, but in that frequency, they're treacherous. They will keep us bound to this density. So the higher astral is when we start to go through the heart. This is about activating the heart. This lunar eclipse in Leo is about living in the heart frequency. The divine heart frequency that's operating from that Trinity force is powerfully creative. It doesn't need to take from anyone. It shares, it loves community. It's about uplifting, service, giving, creating, art, love, beauty. And let me see if there's anything else I want to say. It's the ascending force, and it's the realm of the sun and above. So it's the Christic force. It's the true higher solar force. My next video is going to be about solar consciousness for 2019 for the archetypes, and I'll be talking a lot about the higher astral plane. This is a really good question, because that's what we're talking about. When you go into your dream time, when you dream at night, you can go into the lower astral or you can go into the higher astral. Huge difference. We most of the time, if we're traumatized, we sink into the labyrinth of the lower astral world, and it's where many things are happening. Now, in the realms between the higher and the lower, there's a war taking place. There is a war taking place between the light and the dark, to try to hold beings in the astral, the underworld, the lower world, that are trapped there. Every single one of us has a part of our being right now in the lower astral, that we in order to be here, part of our being is bound to the lower astral. So there's nobody here on this earth that's better than anyone else. If you're here, there's a shadow inside you that's operating even a whole nother version of yourself in the lower astral. So I know that's a long question, but we'll be doing more on that. Inner child. I don't know what that's about. I missed that comment. There's a little womb carries water. Yes. Emotional body. Yes. This is what I want to say. The Leo is the fire of the emotional body, and Cancer, the sign Cancer, is the water of the emotional body. That's why this merge between the two signs of Leo and Cancer is about the alchemy of fire and water. In Leo, we have the emotional body in its fire state. In Cancer, it's in its deep, deep water state. Everything is about fire and water when it comes down to it. Yes, yes, thank you, Rick. Absolutely. Okay. Yes, I want to say that we have to heal. Yes, we have to heal. Oh, good to hear it. We have to heal. There's a whole process. And so understanding your archetypes and your own archetypal blueprint and your lineage and all of that is profound in our healing. That's actually what I do when I do archetypal blueprint print readings, which are 60 to 90 minutes if you ever want to. Try that. But there's many ways to do this. It is looking at our own makeup. No two people are alike. Your emotions and my emotions are sourced differently. Your thinking and my thinking are sourced very differently depending on your planets, depending on your archetypes, depending on these are all they are is elements of our own psyche and our emotional body. That's what we're talking about when we're talking about the elemental energies. And that is what the whole science of astrology is about, the mind and the emotional body. That's what we're talking about here. This isn't about putting our faith into something outside ourselves. It's about healing, using it as everything is a mirror in our creation to understand how we need to heal. Um, but we have to heal. That being said, your question, we have to get it out, and it's ugly. When you're going through your dark nights of the soul, it's trauma. We have to go through trauma. You can't. So, in other words, you don't want to try to look pretty when you're going through it because it's for almost all of us. There's going to be eruptions. There's going to be flare ups. There's going to be moments of huge, huge challenge where we are brought to our knees and where we just want to surrender and leave it all behind. But that's when we have to that's when we get the most powerful. That is when all of a sudden that spark rises up within us and we all of a sudden our centers are lit and we become the truth and we begin to share it with other people on whatever level we are meant to. All of us are meant to share. We're meant to be part of this collective, but we're not meant to lose our individual power. If we give up our own power and truth in life, we will become depressed. Nobody is meant to 100% just follow and be anonymous. We each have something to contribute. Okay, I just saw that. My comments are jumping. Yes, honesty, huge. Yes, tap into your desire. You've got to be on, and I always say this with sexuality. You have to be honest about it. You can't just say this is bad, 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 like we learned in religion or whatever. We have to move through the stages of desiring what we desire and going through learning what brings us what kind of energetic exchanges give us what kind of a payoff and make us feel what way. We have to experiment and try. Instigations, how is it all inside of us when oh, well, we have okay, so we have our collective and we have our individual. The solar system is really just a larger version of ourselves. So we have our individual personality level, and then we have the collective being that we are. So each one of us has a particular unit of consciousness that we're operating through. That's our karma. That is what we have. That's what we're working through so that our vehicle can become powerful enough to download the higher blueprint or to just turn it on. It's already within us. In this collective, we have a collective karma that has to do with every single unit. It's the same as the body has a collective health, but within the body, different parts, different regions of the body, different systems in the body, different organs in their body also have their own individual health. And even every cell has its individual makeup. Every atom has its individual makeup of the dance between all the parts that make it up. So I hope that's helpful. All right. I'm going to just see if there's anything else, okay, about the emotional body. You guys asked, that was a good question because trauma, anger, hate, greed, lust, um, okay, also the lower astral consists of our nightmares and our bad dreams. Our limiting patterns become the boogeyman in the lower astral that constantly makes us think that we're not good enough and it pulls us back down. When we go into the lower astral, you know how you'll have a dream about something, you did something wrong, or you'll relive a nightmare, you'll relive rejection, you'll relive, and people relive their addictions. They'll dream that that even if they haven't used a vice in many, many years, they'll dream that they had a binge or something in the lower astral. So what happens is those entities are always working to try to pull you back in. They always want you to come down and play. When you wake up in the lower astral, it is amazing to all of a sudden. I have found myself chanting, speaking in another language, meaning in the dream time, in the lower astral, slaying a dragon, having the sword of light appear. It's when you're down there and all of a sudden, whew, that welling up comes, and you understand that you are actually the creator, even of the lower astral. The lower astral for each person is their own underbelly. So there's no need to fear it. But when we hang out in the lower astral, we don't really have true power in this world. We're constantly being used and manipulated. That's why we want to come into the Christic force, which we'll talk about more when we do the video on the sun and the solar consciousness next week. All right, let me just see if there's anything else I want to say. All emotions have a signature. Our goal is to run our own emotions so that we can't be manipulated. Um, our emotions are either sourcing from the divine wisdom of Sophia or the depth of the inverted mother, where we're being controlled. The thing about the lower astral is that we're not actually in our power. We're being controlled by our own negativity. And it creates addiction as well. The lower astral is all about addiction. And we see the addiction on the planet, addiction to consuming each other, addiction to materialism. It places it over the light of the soul. The lower astral wants the light of the soul, but it doesn't want it to be in its power. It wants to use it and siphon it. So just remember, our emotional body creates our world. It's the huge healing we're doing right now. I'll take a moment and just do the meditation. Just know that our reactions are, when we have strong triggers and reactions, we have it's our body of pain from our unhealed emotional body that's acting. It's okay to respond and to call something for what it is. And occasionally, even when we're wide awake, we will get mad and we will act out or we will speak harshly. But there's a difference between being run by your lower emotions and choosing to engage that way. And when we choose to engage that way, it's usually pretty short and sweet. It's not a drama. It doesn't become a drama. So what I want to say about Leo and the gift of Leo is that Leo rules Hollywood. Leo rules entertainment. Leo rules the law of suggestion, and what we are told is the truth. What we are told is the truth, and what we buy into and believe in the truth becomes our reality. We take it in. When we believe it, it activates our desire force. Our desire force triggers our mind. Our mind triggers our subconscious mind, and we have the whole electric magnetic field. That's our auric field right there. We're creating our world. And so in order to become the center power at central command, operating your own vehicle, I'm going to give this meditation. It's very simple, and you can fill it in. I won't go. I'll leave some space for each person to add their own. All right. So this is a sacred union meditation, and oh, yeah. I'm going to go back to the comments in just a second. So, this is about the conscious mind. Sacred union is the merging of our conscious mind. That's our mind that also contains our ego. So, our conscious mind is our magician, but it also holds our ego. And then our subconscious mind, which is our high priestess, which is our mother deep, which is represented in the sign of Cancer. But it also houses our power, but it houses our body of pain as well. So, both our conscious and our subconscious have a shadow and a light side, and so both are or fight for your attention. We need to bring our conscious mind. It's like reining in the wild horses of the mind. We all know that that's what meditation is. It's when you don't use it by force. You kind of trick yourself into it. You have to find a way that works for you. I use sacred music, but I'm pretty trained to get there now. But music is a really beautiful way. Music that has a really high frequency, and we'll talk more about that in one of our Q&As. So you're going to allow. What happens is that when you sit in meditation and you focus in your heart and you just feel, you can start with a feeling. You begin to focus your conscious mind onto your subconscious mind. This is the inner intercourse between the masculine and feminine principle. This is our inner marriage. We're focusing our conscious mind, our magician, onto our high priestess, and we then add breath, beautiful breath. And for purposes of time, I won't say much more, but we begin to find the rhythm, because everything in life is rhythm, the rhythm of the breath and music. The rhythm of the breath as we're focusing that divine fire onto the water. In Hebrew, in the Hebrew letters, Shin is the fire of the mind. These are the three mother letters, that trinity of wisdom, power, and love. Shin is the mind, it's fire. Mem is water of the subconscious mind. It's the fire penetrating into the water, and as we sit with it, it may begin to bubble. And that's why those bubbles came earlier. That's what it was. Begins to bubble with the air, and the steam comes. And so we're breathing. And then the real thoughts begin to bubble up. When we find true meditation, this is sacred union meditation that I work with in all of anytime I work with anybody, we use this. It is so powerful. We need to access our true feelings. The reason that the world is in chaos is because we are not accessing our true feelings. We are being fed shallow feelings, compulsive feelings, triggered feelings, victim feelings, buy feelings, consume feelings, sex feelings, buy this, wear this, look at this, do this, I mean, it's on and on and on. All of those things within reason have their place, but in this world, it's gone nuts. So we can't get to the place I'm talking about right now if our mind is going that fast. We have to back up. We have to find it. And I recommend doing this at the time of the lunar eclipse. Your true feelings will arise. The body of pain may send you something. It may send you some triggers or show you, it may show you some old wounds, and that's okay. Keep breathing, keep loving, keep seeing the union of that inner male and female, and you will give yourself the most divine gift. You will transmute the body of pain. The inner child will feel loved and held, and it will birth the new magical child. That's all we have time for today. I just want to remind you that next Saturday we'll be doing Archetypes of 2019. We'll be looking at solar consciousness. We're going to go into the archetypes. It's going to be more of a Q&A format, and so I really invite you to join us. I also want to just remind you that I'm starting mentoring a little bit late at the end of the month, but please, if you are interested in doing this work with me, I would love to have you. And if you need to get in touch with me to find out more, just send me an email or contact me on my website. That being said, I'm going to take one more quick look, see if there's any last thing. Yeah, it is a Yeah, exactly. Oh, that's nice. Thank you. Thank you. You guys, oh, nice to see you. It's so nice to see all of you, and I'm really looking forward to this year. Please leave comments. Please talk to me. Oh, hi, it's nice to see you. Like the video, subscribe if you like the content, subscribe, like it. It helps the video, and leave comments so we can talk. You'll have to come back, but it was nice to see everyone. Namaste. I will see you next Saturday, and enjoy the full moon, super blood moon, total lunar eclipse in Leo.